All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. Want to especially thank Bob Keene, Greg Guerra, and our friends from Spirit Communications. Also, we have with us Bob and Robert Hughes from Hughes Development. As you can see, their first project on the site is going up as we speak. They got vertical before we did, something they're very proud of. And obviously, you'll hear in a moment from the mayor. We have Councilman Manning with us here as well, City Manager Teresa Wilson, and from CCEB, the people who are actually building this ballpark for us and for all of you, Greg Hughes and Dr. Lynn. We are here today to announce that the team that is coming to Savannah will be the South Atlantic League affiliate of the New York Mets. From Savannah. What did I say? See? Couldn't even get the first sentence out right. Coming here to Columbia from Savannah will be the South Atlantic League affiliate of the New York Mets. We are extremely happy to have the Mets as our partner in this new venture. First and most importantly, the people at the Mets are great people. Sandy Alderson, the president and general manager of the Mets, who I'll introduce to you in a minute. Our organization, John will talk about his history with Sandy in a minute, but I've known Sandy since we bought our first minor league team, which was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Sandy at the time was running the San Diego Padres. Our experience there with them was spectacular. We have owned a Mets affiliate and have worked with them now for the past 5 years. That has also been a great relationship. Back in Fort Wayne, the farm system that Sandy and his people built led to us winning the 2009 Midwest League Championship. And that team actually set a record. It put more people on the major league rosters than any other team in the history of Class A baseball. We had 19 people who played for us in 2009 that have gone on to the major leagues. So Sandy and his folks know how to build a great farm system and will be putting a great product on the field here in Columbia. In terms of what they've done since they've been with us in Savannah, the current Mets roster has 11 players on it that have played for us in Savannah in the last few years. That includes last year's Rookie of the Year, Jake DeGrom, and one of last year's Gold Glove winners, Juan Lagares. Both the Mets and Sandy have a history here in Columbia. I'll let Sandy tell you a little bit about his history, but as you all know, there was a Mets affiliate here years ago, so we are glad to be able to bring that relationship back into play. The league that we'll be playing in is the South Atlantic League. We think that's the perfect fit for Columbia. It means we'll be playing against rivals in cities like Greenville, Charleston, Augusta, Greensboro, Asheville, and the Rome Braves. So we will have more news to come in the near future, including the name of the team that will play here. But for today, what we're happy to announce is that our partner will be the New York Mets. And with that, I'd like to introduce the general manager of the New York Mets, Sandy Alderson. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'm very happy to be here on behalf of the Mets and personally as well. As Jason mentioned, I have a long-standing relationship with Jason and his ownership group, starting with Fort Wayne when I was with the San Diego Padres, both in terms of our commitment from a player development standpoint, as well as his commitment to ensure that our players have a first-class environment, as well as his commitment to the community and the development not only of the ballpark but everything surrounding it. I can tell you that you are in partnership with one of the outstanding individuals and groups within professional baseball. We take a lot of pride in our player development system. Our system has gradually and I think systematically improved over the last 3 or 4 years to be one of the top-rated systems in the game. And we're very happy that our A affiliate will be here into the future. This is a personal return for me. I spent about 5 years of my youth living outside of Sumter at Shaw Air Force Base and have some memories of Columbia that go beyond that. I saw one of my first Major League games, an exhibition game here between the Braves and the Reds, I think when I was in the 6th grade, which is a real memory. And the other memory, not so great, is that we used to have our piano recitals here, and I absolutely hated those. So there's a nice balance there. The University of South Carolina, obviously home here in Columbia. And during those days, I was a big Gamecock fan and still can remember some of the basketball players and football players on those teams, which were not remarkable, by the way, but in terms of their competition with Clemson, I was always a Gamecock. Again, we're very happy to be here. Very proud to be associated with Jason, his group, and the city of Columbia. I'm looking forward to coming back here on many occasions and looking forward to the opening of the ballpark. So thanks very much for having me, and the Mets are happy to be back.
Next, I'd like to introduce somebody that a lot of you probably have met already. He's been around town with me for better than the last year, and he's been working with us for about 10 years now. And that is my good friend John Katz, who will be the president of the team that is moving here to Savannah. So to Columbia. So John will be moving from Savannah at the conclusion of this season. We are thrilled to have him here with us, and he's already got a house here in Columbia, and his wife and kids have already been scoping things out. So I would just like to introduce John to you now and let him tell you a little bit about himself.
Thank you, Jason, for the introduction and the continued opportunity to work with Hardball Capital. I'd like to thank Mayor Benjamin for his vision and for the opportunity for us as an organization and for me personally to be able to have the opportunity to call Columbia home. I'm very excited. As Jason said, my wife and I are closing on a house here in just about 3 weeks, and I'm really excited to have my family moving up here this summer. My wife and kids are extremely anxious to make the move. My boys are both soccer players, which breaks Dad's heart only a little. But they were here actually this week trying out with South Carolina United. And my daughter had her opportunity to work out at Lake Murray Gymnastics, where I think she's going to be one of their level 9 gymnasts for next year. My wife, who is a former teacher, are really pleased with the educational opportunities that are available to our kids. I'm really excited that both of my boys will be rising freshmen at AC Flora, and my daughter will be a 7th grader at Creighton Middle School. I truly believe, and I can say this from experience, that as Sandy said, we've got wonderful partners here, both with Hardball Capital and of course with the New York Mets. I've been with Hardball Capital, like Jason said, for a little bit over 10 years. I've known Sandy for about 20 years, back when I was a very young general manager in the late 90s in the Modesto A's, and Sandy was over in Oakland. So it's a great opportunity to reacquaint ourselves, and it's also nice. A lot of the folks that I remember from my A's days have now migrated over to the Mets. So, it's a great homecoming, not just for Sandy, but also, as he said, for the Mets to come back here as they were, an affiliate for 21 years. In the coming months, we'll be continuing to assemble our leadership team and fully immerse ourselves in the community. My passion, and this predates my having children, but my passion is public education. And it's my first responsibility to myself to identify an elementary school that needs some mentoring or tutoring so that I can, help kids, as I've done in Savannah for the last 4 or 5 years, to find some kids that I can make a difference in their lives. I'd also like to take a moment to introduce someone that probably more of you have met than have met me, which is our Vice President of Marketing and Public Relations, Abby Noss. Abby has been with us on the ground, our sole full-time employee since January. She does a phenomenal job. She's extremely talented. We were able to move her over from our Fort Wayne team, and she's done a phenomenal job in the 6 months she's been here. And you can all look forward to some wonderful things on the PR and marketing front from Columbia Professional Baseball, New York Mets, and Hardball Capital. So thank you very much for the opportunity. At this time, I'd like to introduce my good friend, Mayor Steve Benjamin.
Thank you, John. We're obviously excited to be here today, not only because we're welcoming the major leagues back to Columbia, South Carolina, but we're celebrating this new spirit of energy and enthusiasm, not just here at Columbia Common in downtown Columbia, but all across this region. We are one great region thriving, and we're at the core of it right here. Something special is happening in this region and in Columbia, and this team is a big part of it. In fact, we're seeing a great impact as we speak. The partnership with CCEB Venture Partners, a strong commitment to workforce development. My colleagues on council and I were very clear about establishing some very significant goals in terms of subcontractor outreach. Over $24 million in subcontractor outreach, 177% of our goal. Over $16 million to local businesses, 291% of our goal. Over $5.7 million to minority businesses, 117% of our goal. We are on time, on budget, and exceeding expectations. And that's something that we're all very, very proud of. This is only the beginning of this exciting development, Columbia Common here at Bull Street. We look forward to the continued partnership with so many of you in front of me, and obviously with Hughes Development and the aggressive vision that we all have for this historic property. I'm excited to be here, excited to welcome the New York Mets to Spirit Communications Park, excited to welcome them to famously hot Columbia, South Carolina. It's not often that you have anyone elected to office, particularly in the great state of South Carolina, admit to being born and raised 15 minutes away from Shea Stadium. But having witnessed the magic of the Mets, I'm glad the Mets are back in Columbia, South Carolina. God bless you.
If people have questions for any of us, I think anybody who's up here is happy to answer those now. If not, for those of you in the media, we'll remain available for anybody who wants to do a one-on-one or anything like that. But before we go to that, any questions for anybody?
I want to take a quick point of personal privilege. Obviously, a whole lot of folks here doing a whole lot of work, but I want to thank our city manager and her team, particularly Gregory Tucker. For great stewardship of this project. The vision, the financing, everyone had roles to play, but the day-to-day execution of getting this done. Greg is way in the back. He's very incognito, but he's getting the job done. And I will say on record, if anyone tries to steal him from us before this project's done, we're going to have a problem.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you coming out here.